So the question is, how do I talk about my ADHD once I've been diagnosed? How do I tell people about it? How do I tell people about it in a way that is a quick blurb that just shuts it down? So this question is a really interesting and very uniquely adult ADHD question. Because kids, when they're diagnosed with ADHD and they go through school, they never have to really think about how to tell people or who to reveal it to. Their parents do that for them. Then they learn to advocate for themselves in high school and college. And it's just a part of who they are. But when you're 40 or 35 or 55 or 85 and you're diagnosed with ADHD, you suddenly feel that there's something about you that people need to understand. And you feel like you have to tell people. And in many cases, it really does help to tell people. And in some cases, people have a judgment and they don't really accept your what you're telling them. So, a couple things to think about. One is, what kind of response are you hoping for? Check yourself about that. Are you only hoping that you can say it and then no one will talk to you about it? People are going to have feelings about it, and it's important to think about why you're telling them and who you're telling and whether they deserve to know, because not everyone needs to know. Um, if you have some kind of internal cancer that's not obvious and your hair isn't falling out, are you telling everybody you know that you have it? Probably not. If you have, if you're an alcoholic and you are in recovery and new in recovery, are you telling every single person you come across that you're an alcoholic? Probably not. But you are telling certain people because you want them to understand you and support you. And those people, when you tell them, they'll have one of a few different responses. It's sort of like when somebody in your family or in your circle says that they are an alcoholic. People have all kinds of responses. One is, oh my gosh, how difficult. I'm so sorry you're going through that. I'm so glad you told me. How can I support you? And the other extreme of that is, what? You don't have a problem? I don't know what you're talking about. That's nuts. And then the person just ignores your need for support and continues to offer you cocktails and wine at dinner. Um, Telling people about ADHD is a very similar type of thing, and you need to check yourself about it. So you might get a response of, oh, wow, that's really interesting. Tell me more. And you might get a response, particularly from an adult parent, where they feel really defensive and like you're telling them that they didn't do enough for you in childhood, and they take it as a personal affront. You don't have ADHD. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you're just a little disorganized. Or someone could be in the middle and be very dismissive and say, oh, well, I have ADHD too. Don't we all have ADHD? But of course, no, actually, we don't all have ADHD, and it can be really hard to live with it in a very typical environment where literally everything is set up for someone that doesn't have working memory issues or executive function deficits. And you'll find your way through that. You have your whole life been finding your way through that, and you will continue to. But sometimes it's helpful if your spouse or partner really understands it. So, before you go telling anyone, two things. One, think about who you're telling and why. And secondly, don't expect that if you tell people, they won't have feelings that they express to you about it. So if it's somebody that you're worried about doing that, maybe practice telling more supportive people first. You don't owe everyone an explanation. And, you can always just like tell your parent and then say, this this is something that's they didn't know then or whatever, and you can kind of try to help them process the information, but they'll inevitably have feelings about it. So expect that, be ready for that. Don't shy away from that, but remember, it's your information. You can share with whom, what, and to what degree you share. It's all up to you.